welcome to Board Game Game Boards, a show where we give you the how-to and review of today's top games.
I'm Lee.
I'm Tom, and today we're looking at
Smash Up. Smash Up is a deck-building card game where 2 to 4 players must use their minions to crush enemy bases and gain victory points.
By using strategy and the unique abilities of each faction, the goal is total domination over all other players.
So let's shuffle up and deal by learning about...
Inside of the box, you'll find 8 faction decks of 20 cards and 16 separate base cards.
You'll also find victory point tokens with denominations of 1 and 5 points, and of course, the rulebook.
The rulebook does a great job filling in any questions you might have as you go along, but we do recommend reading it first just for basic clarification.
If you've never played any kind of deck building game before, this can be your best friend.
Best friend? Whoa.
You're the only one who gets me. To start the game, each player takes a turn drawing 1 faction deck from the pile, with the last player taking 2 decks, then going backwards in reverse order until every player has picked 2 decks.
There are 8 factions with the base game: aliens, dinosaurs, ninjas, pirates, robots, tricksters, wizards, and zombies.
Each faction has different strengths and weaknesses, so choose wisely.
Once you have chosen your 2 decks, shuffle them together and draw 5 cards.
You also need to shuffle the base cards together and draw 1 base per player, plus 1. So for us, 3 bases in all. Once you've picked your ultimate combo of dino wizards or robot pirates, it's time to get started.
Each player will draw 5 cards to start the game. If you don't draw a minion card in this first draw, show your hand to your opponent and then redraw.
You can only redraw once, and then you have to keep your second hand no matter what. Looks like Tom has about as many minions as he does friends. Each base has a breakpoint listed in the top left, followed by a set of number points that can be earned for first, second, and third place. If you are playing a 2-player game, ignore the third place point total.
As for how to decide who starts, the player who woke up the earliest this morning goes first. Seriously, it's actually written in the rulebook.
Table set, deck shuffled, it's time to start smashing bases!
Whoa, chill out, Thor. First, we need to learn the card types and how turns work.
Oh yeah, I guess that would help.
Each turn has an order of play to follow. First, check if any cards in play have abilities that activate at the beginning of your turn. Resolve those, then move on.
Now you can play cards. You can play them in any order, but you can only play 1 minion and 1 action per turn. You can combine cards and abilities with different factions to create multiple cards and...
Lee, do the viewers look like they care about these advanced rules yet? Stop trying to impress Jake. There are 2 types of cards you will draw: minions and actions.
Minions show their power in the top left corner next to their name, their ability directly under the minion identifier, and lastly, their faction symbol in the bottom right corner. Actions will have their name up top, identifier in the middle, ability to show what it does, and show their faction symbol in the bottom right corner, just like minions.
To play a minion, choose a base and put your minion beside it facing toward you. Do whatever the card says, and if they have a special ability, make sure you know when it will activate.
Special abilities can happen at unusual times or in different ways throughout the game. With the variety of abilities, make sure you understand your card before playing it.
When playing an action card, show it to the other players, do what it says, then discard it. Simple as that.
But what if I want to play Portal along with Neophyte to then use my hoverbot
No one cares!
Jake?
If you ever get stuck arguing over how something should work, there is a great section that goes over what to do when card text and rules are conflicting.
Pretty much the card text always wins. If 2 cards conflict, the one stopping you from doing something will trump the one saying to do something.
Anytime you feel that something might be in question, the rulebook is easy to navigate and should help you clarify things.
After you finish playing cards on your turn, check to see if any of the bases are ready to score. Start by adding the power totals of any minion that is currently on that specific base.
Scoring takes place when the total power of all minions on the base meet or exceed the breakpoint value.
Next, draw 2 cards from your deck. You can have a max of 10 cards in your hand.
If you go over 10 cards, just discard as many cards as you need to get back down to 10.
And if you ever run out of cards to draw, just reshuffle your discard pile and start all over.
Welcome to Board Game Game Boards, the show where we give you the how-to and review of today's top games. All that's left is to make sure no cards activate at the end of the player's turn. If everything checks out, turn rotates clockwise to the next player. Each player will continue to take turns placing minions in order to gain the upper hand on their scoring positions.
Tom!
What?
We just destroyed our first base! What a glorious day!
So much mindless bloodshed.
It's okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Once a breakpoint is met or exceeded on a base, each player totals up their minion power levels.
The player with the most power total takes first place. The next highest power takes second, and third highest takes third.
If any players are tied on a base in any position, all players involved in the tie take the points they're tied for.
So if 2 players tie for first, they both get the points. The next highest score gets third, not second.
And if 2 players tie for runner-up, no one gets third.
You know what they say.
Moving on, if 2 players tie for the base's ability, they both get to use it. The Me First section in the rulebook goes over this rare occasion. Pretty cool, right?
If you ain't first, you're last. Oh, classic. Give each of the scoring players their allotted victory points, or VP tokens, to add to their stash.
After scoring, you can use any special abilities that activate after a base scores.
Once that has been done, discard all cards on the base that scored to their owner's discard pile and draw a new base to take its place.
If any other bases are ready to score at this time, just repeat the steps above.
The game is over when a player reaches 15 victory points, but if there's a tie, you just keep playing until there's no longer a tie.
So even if I'm losing, there's still a chance.
There's still a chance for you to either steal a victory or screw someone else out of victory. And at the end of the day, isn't that all we really want? So let's talk about pros and cons of the game. The game is easy to play and teach. It's also a great in-between game for people who don't play a lot of games, but want something a little challenging. However, the cards can cause some problems with how vague they are that can lead to stretches of arguing, even with the help of the rulebook.
I love the fact that having different decks equates to different playstyles and strategies. It gives a very diverse playthrough almost every time. Now, some of the decks do feel underpowered compared to the others, but some expansions that have come out give you new bases and factions, which definitely helped. But hey, what do we know? Go down to your local game shop and give it a try for yourself.
Well, that's about it for this episode of Board Game Game Boards.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Let us know what other games you'd like us to play, and we will definitely, maybe, get around to playing them.
I really wanted to write a witty ending, but I can't think of anything we could do.
Well, what about, and hear me out on this,
All right.
we build it up like we're gonna do something
Okay.
spectacular,
Yeah.
and then right when we
Yeah.
got them hooked,
Yeah.
we go to the... But if they're already at the wall, they attack the wall, destroying it, and take 1 point of damage.
And if you're unlucky enough to have a monster make it inside the castle, they move 1 space clockwise inside the castle ring.
It's a nice place you got here. It'd be a shame if it got smashed up.
They've broken through!
Drive him back! Alright, who won?